My apologies. My apologies. We are 9 minutes late, but you know what? We will deliver. It will be worth it. We're talking Miami football. We got the wholesome one with, I won't do it. I'm neutral. I'm not going to do it. We'll let him do it. Here it is.
Almost got you, Mark.
You almost lured me into that one. We got the wholesome one on the line. Please check out his YouTube channel as he's all over the Canes each and every day talking Miami football. Again, the wholesome one, HOLSUM. I'll have the identifier on the screen. And we need to talk about one guy in particular, Avante Williams. Yes, he was interested in Miami. Obviously, that's where his heart was, but we didn't know if his head was going to make that decision based on some recent comments and crystal ball projections from people that are very qualified to make those.
Absolutely.
But you didn't necessarily have much hope. Cam Underwood said flat out, I don't see it happening. But, man, it's nice to get surprised, isn't it?
Absolutely. And then, first off, happy to have everyone there. Glad to be there. Glad to be on Mark Rogers TV and represent the University of Miami football program. That is exciting. So I'm happy to be here. Man, Avante Williams, it's crazy because when I went and rewatched the live from last week, and I said, stranger things have happened. Stacey Coley was going to Tallahassee. Tracy Howard was 100% UF. And exactly what happened with Avante Williams, who was 100% UF, according to anybody who was doing crystal ball, anybody who had any projections, is he was going to UF. The signs of his cousin, Lorenzo Lingard, transferring from here up there, all of the supposed backlash that came from his mistreatment and things of that nature at the University of Miami. So we all thought Avante Williams, 100% Gator. And, I have spoken about on my channel, when he reached for that Miami hat, and this has come from years of this happening to us, and he grabbed that hat, I said, oh, he's going to toss it. Or he's going to throw it back down on the table. And he said, he grabbed Miami and he put the hat on. And I'm saying to myself, all right, okay, when the joke's up, all right. And he's serious. And he actually threw the U up and everyone was still like, wait, he actually picked Miami. And there's message boards going around that saying that the Florida Gators coaching staff, as they were watching his announcement, the safeties coach looks up and he goes, did he say Miami? He turns to Dan Mullen, and Dan Mullen just shakes his head and he gets up and he walks out, man. And it's one of those good feelings, man, that a good surprise, a good player, a hard worker, a leader, and we're adding him, a playmaker, to the University of Miami football program. And that's what you want. You want to have 11 playmakers. You want to have young men that are willing to work and grind and to become better. And I remember even you saying, his heart was Miami. We've all spoken about that. His heart was Miami, but is he joining the 6-7, 7-6, 8-4 Miami Canes? Or is he actually joining the 2016, 2017, that back-to-back year where we thought Miami was about to start rolling here? Is he joining that type of mindset? And the influx of Ed Reed and the great effort, I have to publicly give on the platform I'm on right now, Efren Banda, our safeties coach, is the majority reason why he chose the University of Miami. This is from Avante Williams' interview. The relationship that he made with Avante Williams since the 8th grade. The 8th grade, he's been recruiting him and wanting him to be a Miami Hurricane and projecting him into the Miami Hurricane program. And then adding Ed Reed was what put it over the top, man. And we're happy. It's smiles right now in our program.
We got Chris Roll on the line. We thank everyone for jumping on here. Typically, it's difficult to get folks on the line in the middle of the day. The live streams do much better later in the evening, of course, with most people working. But you guys show up. So we've already got 40 on the line. And Chris Rolls, I would love to see this wholesome one. The praise dance time.
They always get on me, man, because when stuff happen, I always say somebody. That's what we grew up saying in church and in Southern Baptist churches, and we do the little shake and dance, and I always just go. I'll be getting into it on my channel, man, because when you feel that positive energy and you put that, regardless of belief, but that positive energy out into the universe on camera, and you get to see what this program is trying to do. And yet again, we've done the off-season warrior stuff. We've done it looks good, and it has to turn out in about 8 months or so. It has to turn into something.
So I'm fascinated with the Avante Williams decision because we talked about it last week. When certain programs and certain coaches walk into the living room, they can basically just say, this is what we've accomplished. This is what we've done. We're winning 12 games a year. We're competing for national championships. We're winning conference championships. We're going to college football playoff appearances. This is, and obviously the relationship building and all of that is still vital for those programs as well. But they get into the living room automatically because of who they are and what they've accomplished recently. It's got to be a difficult place to be. And I think we've all been there at some point in our life where we've had to make a difficult decision and our head is telling us, wow, I want to win. Sure. I want it also to match the education and the vibe and the coaching staff and the relationships I have, but I'm a big time football player. I want to win. And these places have proven, and I know they're going to win. Oh, my heart tells me I want to go to Miami. This is what I've been. This is who I am. I'm a Cane at heart, but can I believe these guys? And that's where the relationship building really comes into play to convince, okay, no, we haven't done it. We haven't done it. We can't sell you on the 12 wins a year, but hey, we've built a relationship here. We think you can be a cornerstone, and to make that convincing, play for a young man like that is speaks a lot to as you mentioned, the position coach and Manny Diaz.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the biggest thing is at Miami, we're always going to be a part of the conversation for the South Florida or the Florida players. We're going to be in the conversation, but what have we done? What's the substance that can put what we're saying and what's actually happening on the field together? That's the thing. And safety has actually been one of our best developed positions. I've been critical of Ephraim Banda as a recruiter because we had Tyreek Stevenson, who it was Miami and Georgia. And everyone's like, he's going to come to Miami. He picks Georgia, and he's doing very well at Georgia. People are critical of Coach Mike Rumph when he had the fearsome foursome from American Heritage with Tyson Campbell, Pastor Tan Jr., Nasty Nesta Silvera, and I forgot the other guy who went to Florida. He's irrelevant. But anyway, you got those guys, and we thought we were going to at least get one of those corners. We didn't. And Coach Mike Rumph used to be their head coach at American Heritage. So the recruiting has been a little tough. We've been pretty tough on our coaches when it comes to recruiting. But safety, ever since Ephraim Banda and Manny Diaz have touched this team, every single starting safety we have had since 2016 is still on the current NFL roster right now. Jamal Carter and Rayshawn Jenkins in 2016. Jamal Carter still plays for the Falcons. Rayshawn Jenkins was a 4th-round draft pick. Jaquan Johnson and Sheldrick Redwine, both day 3 picks, but they are starters or big-time players are on their teams. For the Buffalo Bills for Jaquan Johnson and the Cleveland Browns for Sheldrick Redwine. So he's developed all of them and pushed them to the NFL. And majority of them have led us in tackles every single year, except for the 2019 season when Shaq Quarterman finally led the team in tackles. But before that, it was a safety every single year. The first year was Jamal Carter in 2016. 17 and 18, it was Jaquan Johnson. And this year in 19 was the first year it wasn't a safety. So Ephraim Banda has actually put out very, very good safeties and proven to be one of the better coaches, if not the best developer on the current Miami Hurricanes staff.
Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, talking Miami with the Wholesome One. So please join him on his YouTube channel, HOLSUM1, the Wholesome One, right here on YouTube. And what we're doing, and we've done this now 3 consecutive weeks, is have a 1-hour Q&A with the wholesome one right here, Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. So I'm scanning the comments that have been sent to the channel in response to other Miami videos. And then also, if you leave your comments and questions in the live chat, I will get them directly to the wholesome one and we will talk it up. And when I've got something to say, I'll chime in as well. But obviously, we've got the Miami expert right here. We want to remind you that you can check out the previous videos with the wholesome one right here. We appreciate the 5,000 views on each one of them. And also, of course, we had our Miami live show last night with Cam Underwood. Check that out as well.
Please go check that out. That's the GOAT right there, man. That's the greatest of all time, Cam Underwood.
Oh, and we also have to consider that the super chat's available to you as well. So please like the videos. Please at least like the videos. It goes a long way in supporting the channel, but also the super chat's available as well. And appreciate that the wholesome one has donated an hour of his time each and every week. So as it states on the screen, we're still having trouble talking ever since this voice thing came on, wholesome one. So you got to bear with me here a little bit.
I got you.
The professionalism has taken a bit of a hit the last week. But Mr. HD, or Mr. HD, yes, is asking about Tay Williams playing early.
If he earns it.
Sure.
If he earns it. We're creating that type, and of course, shout out to Mr. HD, one of my best supporters on my channel. He shoots out. He loves to come and ask questions. So thank you for traveling on over to Mark Rogers TV to bring your question. I appreciate that. But yes, Avante Williams, and that's the type of culture we need to create. And I've talked about it before ad nauseum here, and plenty of people have talked about it. You got to create a sense of competition to where if you truly earn it, not just because you're the highest ranked or you're the tallest or you look best in t-shirt and shorts. Did you truly earn it? Do you know the playbook? Can you go out here and play free? Can you play fast? Are you not going to hurt us with penalties? Are you going to come out here and be a leader? All of those type of things, man. Are you going to be able to come out here and truly help the program? Because, I mean, look at Keontre Smith. He has something to say about Avante Williams coming and taking playing time. Gervin Hall has something to say about Avante Williams coming in and taking playing time from those guys. Amari Carter and my favorite, light-skinned warrior. That's what I call him, number 21. His name is Bubba Bolden, but I call him light-skinned warrior on my channel, and it kind of took off. Everybody really likes it. But those are the safeties that we currently have. And all of those young men are on our – because Avante is not an early enrollee. So we already have 4 safeties at his position of free safety and strong that are there to be able to battle back and forth for playing time. So that means Avante Williams has to come in and truly earn the right to get playing time. If the question is, do I think he will? Of course, whether it's special teams, whether it's coming in to play a nickel, because one thing about him is he's 5'11", 170. So he can play within the box because he's very aggressive, but he can also cover and come in as a nickel player every now and again. So having Avante Williams on the field ups the athleticism and the ante of the players on the field, but only if he truly earns that time to be out there. And that's the competition that Ed Reed is going to demand. And it's people who earn playing time, because you got to earn that to be out there and wear that U and get your uniform dirty.
I greatly appreciate the super chat contribution from Zoe. Hurricane Zoe 1219, the U family, with a super chat contribution. I will post that to the screen as soon as I get to it in the stream. The only reason I don't take it directly to the screen, Zoe, right now is because if I drop too far down, and bear with me on the explanation here, if I drop too far down in the live stream and post somebody's comment that's further down, then I can't go back and grab the other one. So I want to go in order. But Zoe, thank you so much. I appreciate so much the contribution today. Zoe, we appreciate your contribution. So I've got a comment here that was made to our last video in response to what could have been a class that would have ranked maybe more in the 30s range. But what type of impact? This is Dennis White writing in saying, thanks to Ed Reed and Rhett Lashley, we don't have a recruiting class ranked in the 30s, that they made the difference. What do you think?
I can definitely agree. Now, to a certain extent, majority of this class had already been put together and held together by Coach David Cooney our head of recruiting, Coach DeMarcus Van Dyke, and a lot of these position coaches before we had the additions of Rick Lashley and Ed Reed. Now, when you talk about bringing in, he left work early.
I love that comment. NCIS Fanatic 21. This guy has been with us for I don't know how long.
Years, at least about 5. I remember him probably 2015-ish. Yeah, he's been around.
Full throttle, man. He's sold. So I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely, man. And he's probably one of the only Buckeye fans that follows me on Twitter and is, he's very active talking about the Canes. So he appreciates college football. So shout out to you.
One. Here's another good one.
Okay, Kane. Okay. See, Mark, hey, man, you're pulling in the view. Hey, it's better than y'all putting my bison out on Front Street and making me answer questions about them before we go up to Oregon. I appreciate that. That was hilarious. That just caught me completely off guard last week. But this recruiting class, I want to go ahead and say, yes, much respect to Ed Reed and what he has done. Yes, thank God for Rick Lashley bringing the spread air raid to the University of Miami. But we have to give respect to our position coaches. Stephen Fields, our running backs coach, I always forget his name, but our running backs coach that held on, was able to go steal Jalen Knighton from Tallahassee, hold on to Donald Chaney Jr., who Georgia was coming after late. Being able to hold on to those guys and keep them. Coach David Cooney being able to hold all of the wide receivers because it was basically known that Stubblefield was going to be heading out of here at some point, and we were going to be looking for a new wide receivers coach. So for them to be able to hold this close-knit players together, have 13 early enrollees come in, get this, Mark, they're all on the offensive side of the ball.
All early enrollees.
Early enrollees.
Wow.
And all offense. So guess what? They get to learn this new offense under Rick Lashley and Avance than everyone else. So all of the offensive signees are there on campus right now learning that offense and competing for those of them that are healthy. But yes, having Ed Reed a part of this program helped tremendously, probably for the February signing day, and bringing in Avante Williams. And then having Rick Lashley is going to help us in the future and even currently with the mindset of our players. But I got to give respect to our current coaches and recruiting coaches and position coaches for being able to hold this recruiting class together and to bring in those early enrollees and solidify a lot of our players, which towards the end of the early signing day, a lot of the other teams that are doing better than us right now tried to come and pluck them out.
Just to let everyone know out there, I'm not like checking my text messages or going online playing solitaire or whatever. I am actually combing the internet. I'm listening to the Wholesome One. I'm combing the internet and combing my comment section to bring him comments that have been made to Miami videos. And I appreciate, so if I don't get back to you and it's becoming more and more difficult, so consider I didn't even count up the comments from 2019, but it surpassed 50,000 at, I don't know at what point in the year. So who knows how many comments. I'd have to go back and look and check that out. So I cannot respond to the comments, but when you leave a comment, and some of these comments, Wholesome One, to some of the recent videos that you've posted here that we've done together are just people saying, great show, love the content, love it. So if I don't get a chance to respond to you, please know that I appreciate, and please even send those notes of encouragement, because that keeps us going.
Absolutely, man.
So thank you so much for that. So if I can't get to all of those, please understand that we were way past 50,000 views at some point in 2019, just for 2019. So I get to if I comment to all the responses to me, then I can't produce all this content. So just understand that's where we are. Anything else that happened on Wednesday, Wholesome One, that stood out to you? Willie Moise, that situation.
Willie Moise, it didn't fall through. I believe he didn't sign anywhere. Still trying to figure out academic issues. He might actually become a JUCO guy, and that's perfectly fine. There's still success in JUCO. I mean, anyone that's ever watched Last Chance U, I mean, you see that these players still go on and have successful lives and sign at Division I institutions. If that's the route that he does decide to take. And if he can be a part of the program, I would love to have him. But that was about it. Of course, we solidified Isaiah Dunson, the 6'2" corner out of Georgia. So that was big for us. But like I said, he signed his letter of intent at like 7 a.m. You know, we basically felt like that's it. We were chilling for the rest of the day. I mean, we could watch the Avante Williams signing, and if we wanted to, but we weren't really going to trip either way because I love the fact that we went full press, put it all out there. And like I said, literally, it feels like I'm repeating myself. An entire week ago, I said, what's the worst that could happen if you give your all to one of the best safeties, either number one or number two, depending on whichever website you use. Number one or number two safety in the country. We're pretty thin at safety. A lot of the players are going to be moving on at that position at the end of this year with Light Skin Warrior or Amari Carter, because Light Skin Warrior is going to be a redshirt junior. Amari Carter is already a senior. So we're going to get even more thin at that position. And technically, Mark, we really run three safeties because we have a free, we have a strong, and a striker, which is for our bigger safeties. So, you know, that even depletes some of the depth at the safety position. So that is just to bring him in, man. Just what an exciting feeling to bring him in. And that was all that really happened for the University of Miami on Wednesday.
Talking Miami football, we got the Wholesome One. You can check out his channel right here on YouTube, HOLSUM, and the number 1. We got the super chat on, and we appreciate the contribution from Zoe. I will post that to the screen as soon as I get to it. And again, that's just one way in which you can contribute. I had promised this a number of months ago, and I will get to it. I have people asking me almost every day, Mark, what can we do to contribute to the channel? And it's not just about money. I'm going to post a video at some point. I'm just going to mark down, bam, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this, you could do that. Take your pick. So we'll get to that at some point. NCIS Fanatic 21's having some fun with you, Wholesome One, waiting on that touchdown against Louisiana Tech.
Me and you both, brother.
It's over.
Me and you both.
But it's over.
We didn't get it done, and that's fine. I believe the 2019 season was needed. Last I've spoken about multiple times, Mark, these changes don't happen if Miami doesn't hit rock bottom. You know, Miami doesn't lose to FIU. These changes don't happen. Miami goes 8-4, or what would that be? 8-5, including the bowl game. 8-5, 9-4. We keep all those coaches. We keep a lot of those players that were quote unquote, you know, cancers or not really what we want to keep in a program because we would have been winning somewhat and been successful somewhat. All right, we might have even had the Orange Bowl bid at one point. That was a big thing, you know, to a rematch with Florida. Or maybe even they even thought that we were going to have a game against Alabama, which would have went horrible for Miami. Yeah. But at the end of the day, everything happens for a reason, guys. Not that I'm happy about it. Not that like I say on my channel, the standard needs to stay national championship. But expectations can fluctuate because year to year, week to week, things change. You never know. All right. But at the end of the day, going into the 2020s, Miami has made decisions to modernize and to become like these other programs. Something as simple as bringing in other position coaches to be quality controlled, which is stuff that SEC, Big 12, Big 10 teams have been doing for well over a decade now that Miami was not doing. Miami would give those positions to former players or really nice guys or film analysis. No, we're actually going in and getting former high school head coaches and bringing them in the South Florida area, bringing them into the University of Miami and giving them jobs. So guess what? When they say, hey, I know this player is a dog. I know this player knows football. I know this player has a high football IQ because I coached him. Or one of my good friends coaches him. I know his position coach. I know the defense that they run, and it's very similar to ours. So he would be a great fit here, coach. I know a guy that's one of those 2 stars that no one's talking about, that if we can get him in the weight room and reshape his body, he can be a great player. And building those relationships and basically rebuilding the relationships that Coach Al Golden really destroyed in South Florida as far as the inner city schools, and bringing in those coaches to be a part of our staff. And that's something that Coach Manny Diaz has done over the last month. And, man, I mean, coaches like Telly Lockett, former Miami Northwestern offensive coordinator and Miami Central head coach, former national championship winning head coach at Miami Central. You know, bringing him in as an offensive analyzer, offense analyst. That's it. But to bring him in and have him a part of this program is going to take it to a whole nother level for Miami as far as the respect we have in Dayton, Broward County. That's huge.
Wholesome One, you've got a new fan in Cheryl, and she's a Buckeye even.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine. I take them all, man. At the end of the day, you got to respect that program. As much as we don't like the ending of that Fiesta Bowl, when Ohio State's a top 5 program, no matter how you talk about it, and you gotta respect the scarlet and gray. That's just football. You gotta respect great football.
Here we got Alejandro Johnson, Wholesome One. Which skill position guys do you see starting on offense for game 1?
Oh, nice question. I think De'Aaron King. That's a good one. De'Aaron King is going to start at QB. I believe that is going to happen. De'Aaron King. He's starting QB. Breaking news here on MarkRogersTV. At running back, of course, Cam Harris. I think Cam Harris is going to have a lot to say, being the guy that can take the reins as the number 1 running back. He's been number 2 for 2 seasons now. I think he's ready to take that next step. I also think with Don Chaney Jr. coming off of shoulder surgery, which he will miss. Mark, also, I'll get to that answer later on. I got some injury news that I want to talk about on here for spring ball, but I'll finish the rest of this question. Don Chaney Jr. will miss spring due to shoulder injury. So that means that gives Jalen Knighton a chance to get a lot of snaps and show what he can. So I don't think he'll be a starter, but he will be a key contributor come game 1 versus Temple. At wide receiver, I mean, doesn't matter who's going to start. We're going to play all 8 wide receivers, but I'll play along. I'm going to say Mark Pope. I'm going to say Mike Harley is going to actually also be a starter for us. And I think that D. Wiggins is going to be the other starting wide receiver. Brevin Jordan to be healthy. We're going to use both him and Will Mallory, also featuring Larry Hodges and Dominic Memorelli and Michael Irvin II. Keep an eye out on him in the red zone for some nice possession catches. I think with his last go around, he's going to be able to come out and make some plays for Miami. Was it all offense, or did he ask skill position regardless?
He just said skill positions.
Okay. At the corners, I think we are going to continue to have Al Blaze Jr. and DJ Ivy going to now be second-year starters as juniors, but technically they've been contributing for 3 years now. So they'll be ready to take that next step. At free and strong safety, I think at free safety will be light-skinned warrior Bubba Bolden. At strong safety will be Amari Carter. And at striker will be Gilbert Frierson. The linebacker position, I think is going to be number 53, Zach McLeod. He's going to be ready to take that step. He's been brewing on the sideline, having to take a red shirt. Not having, but he took the red shirt in his best interest to have that year where he's out of the shadow of both Michael Pinkney and Shaq Quarterman. He could be his own man going into 2020. And next to him, I am going to say next to him, a very healthy Wayman Steed, number 17. I think Wayman Steed is going to be a guy who almost set the tackle record in Miami-Dade County at Miami Central, but he has been injury prone, but he's one of the better cover players on our team, and I think that he's going to beat out Sam Brooks for a chance to start at the weak side inside linebacker in our 4-2-5.
Again, I'm checking out the comments from our Miami videos of late. Jeff Lynn's ELO 2020 tour. Just want to pass this along. He says, wholesome, awesome. And then also states here, 20,000 soon, Mark. Many of the subscribers are from the U family. Love your work as usual. Jeff Lynn comments all the time. We appreciate your comments. Again, that's from one of the recent videos. I don't see anything in particular. I haven't gotten to anything of note in the live chat. Wholesome One, so you can go on with the what you wanted to bring forth regarding injury reports.
Yes. Now we have some bad news, but the good news comes that every name I'm about to spew off will be ready for player-led practices in the fall. They will also be ready for fall camp and for the season, according to Manny Diaz. All right. Number one, on one of those leap years, Spring ball will start Saturday, February 29th. I know that sounds weird, but Saturday, February 29th, spring ball starts for the University of Miami. Early enrollee Tyreek Austin Cave will miss spring due to a shoulder injury. Bubba Bolden, my light-skinned warrior, will miss a part of spring recovering from his ankle injury that he suffered versus Tallahassee. Sam Brooks will miss the entire spring also due to a shoulder injury. Don Channing Jr., like I spoke about earlier, will miss spring due to a shoulder injury. Navon Donaldson, number 55, our best offensive lineman, will miss spring due to a knee injury. Corey Flagg, another early enrollee linebacker, will miss spring due to a knee injury. BJ Jennings will miss spring due to a hip injury, and he's also been very injury-prone in his Miami Hurricanes career. Wish nothing but the best for BJ Jennings. Brevin Jordan, fan favorite, will miss spring due to a foot injury. And Michael Redding III, someone that people are very, very excited about as an early enrollee wide receiver, freshman from IMG Academy, he will miss spring also due to a wrist injury. Now, these injuries, the good part about it is they're going to be there at the University of Miami to get all of their health up. So it's not going to be like in all the treatment. They're going to be actually there with our Miami trainers, building a relationship with them to get through these injuries. So it's not like they're going to be home and trying to nurse injuries and going to their own personal doctors. They will be here enrolling in class and at the University of Miami being a part of whatever they can, whether it's conditioning, if it isn't lower extremity or strength and condition, whatever they can do. But they're going to be getting a lot of mental reps to prepare themselves for this upcoming season. So
I'm going to say it one more time. Again, as I sift through these comments, I apologize for not getting back to them, but I am truly humbled and appreciative in looking at all these comments that come in, appreciating what we do, what the Wholesome One does, but we here in particular at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, delivering this content. Thank you so much for I'm going through so many kind comments that I've missed because, again, just too many comments coming in. I can't keep up with them and try to cover college football at the same time. So I need to get to this at different times. Wholesome One, I've made it a point to say, man, I need to sit down and just cut a video every week where I'm just sifting through the comments. And obviously I want to dig into the insightful ones and the ones that cause a little bit of debate. That's the reason I do it. But man, there's just so many awesome comments that people make in encouraging us to keep this thing going. Andy K, on the other hand, yes, there it is. That's an encouraging comment to just basically say, who in the hell gave this video a thumbs down?
Hey man, you do the best you can. You smile and you keep it moving, man. At the end of the day, let it roll off your back, man. But yet again, like Mark is saying, thank you all very much. I almost got emotional on my show last night, just talking to people and just saying, man, I don't think they understand. And some people do. We give a service, but like we get paid to do. Like people pay us. People donate. Like there are thousands upon thousands of people who care what we have to say on camera. I spoke about it. I remember when I had 40 subs and I felt like, wow, I got 40 people that subscribe and want to hear what I have to say. 100 people. When I hit 1,000, I almost cried on live. Like I hit 1,000 subscribers. People genuinely investing their time into whatever the heck I gotta say. That is just it means the world, man. And we definitely appreciate you all, each and every one of the view. If you're watching it on a rewatch, we appreciate you too. You are just important, man. Thank you very much. And if you would, go ahead and hit the like button if you truly like the content that Mark is bringing to the table, man. We really appreciate you all. We genuinely do.
Chugmo Beer with a contribution. And Chugmo Beer, man, you're here all the time. I appreciate it. And I will get to your comment and post it to the screen in just a second. As again, I don't want to lose the live chat, and you would have to see how it functions here to understand what I'm talking about. But I can't go too far down in the comments because I'm going to lose everything else and not be able to get back to those comments. Tabardine 1, this individual, whomever they are, they're on here all the time. So thank you so much for your contribution and supplying the comments that you do. We need offensive line. Now there's a direct statement And I posted this last night, Wholesome One, to Cam, because I said, I don't know what it is in the water down there or what's going on, but it seems like despite the struggles in converting the talent into wins, we see the talent all over the board on both sides of the ball, except maybe a quarterback until De'Ara King coming into the fold. Of course, Perry and Williams are very talented guys. I don't want to dismiss them, but it just didn't come to fruition on the field yet. But the offensive line, it's just some combination of maybe not recruiting at that position to the level that you have at other positions. Number one, I got to think coaching has been an issue, and just developing the players at that position. This just continues to be a sore spot.
Absolutely. I mean, but I think it also goes hand in hand. I mean, you brought up, I think both of those things work together. The simple fact that this year would mark 3 different offensive line coaches back to back years. Stacey Searles in 18, Butch Berry in 19, and now we're going to have Aaron Justice. I know it's Coach Justice. I don't know if I got his first name right. Excuse me if I did. But Coach Justice is going to be the 2020 offensive line coach. And to be also frank, all of our highly sought after offensive linemen don't play. Kylion Herbert was a top 5 at his position. Penciled in to go to Michigan, didn't sign here, and he's never started a game here. The only highly sought after as far as the star system offensive lineman is Navon Donaldson that plays and starts on a consistent basis. But everyone else is not the highest ranked players. So you have rarely any consistency because you have different coaches coming in and year out, number one. Number two, where's the camaraderie? Because when was the last time we actually had a whole bunch of players come in and play consecutive years together next to each other to build some chemistry? It's like we either lose one leader or we lose 2 or 3 other guys, and I mean it blew up. It doesn't work out well for us, man. But I think that Justice is the type of coach that is going to build up these players, and that was the biggest thing. A lot of players have spoken out about Coach Searles being someone that just demeaned them and brought them down. If they weren't just the greatest of all time, then you bleep and suck and get the heck, in other words, you can flip that in with other words, off my field. Some coaches and the old school vibe is that's what I want, that's how I like it. But young men probably aren't built like that nowadays, as far as just tearing you down instead of uplifting you and building you up to make you better. Just tear you down and toss you to the side and say, all right, I'll get someone else to do it if you can't. And that players have talked about that a lot, being something that really, really brought them down, and they had to be rebuilt up in confidence because they had no confidence due to Coach Searles just tearing down players. So we got a lot of growth to do. It's an eyesore. It's something that was unexcusable, but I think that we have taken the necessary steps to work on it. Is it fixed? No. Will we know if it's fixed? Probably not until we go into East Lansing, honestly, when we play a team that's going to show up, that's going to be well coached. And, they just lost their head coach, but regardless, they're going to probably hire from within and keep it moving. So they're going to keep playing and play solid football. So we'll see.
I am sifting through the live chat. And, of course, leave your comments and your questions. And, of course, again, Chugmo Beer, thank you so much for the contribution. I will get to it in just a second to post it on the screen. And we thank you for anything that you do in regards to share the videos out there on social media. So there are tons of Miami fans that have no idea the Wholesome One exists or I exist. Believe that. There are tons of Miami fans out there that have no idea. So blast out the videos on social media, if you will. And, of course, like, comment, and subscribe as well. Anything else come to mind before I can find any kind of comment or question to take your way?
Only one of the biggest things that I heard Rick Lashley say, and I want to run this by you, Mark, that and to everyone that's listening, that was huge for me, is he wanted to judge all of our players based off of what they've shown him and what they're going to show him. And when he said that he had GAs do cut-ups of certain players, maybe 10 to 15 plays of just to show him what the players could do. Because he didn't want to watch 1 second of last year. He didn't want that to touch him and to think that such and such isn't a good player because of what they did last year. But here's a couple snippets of what they can do well and what we can incorporate them into doing. Having someone say stuff like that publicly is huge as an offensive coordinator. Because in my eyes, he's saying, I want to make you the best Mark Pope, that from the second I shook your hand and looked you in the eyes to the second I leave this place or you graduate from this place, that's what I want to judge you on. Not what anyone else has to say about you, not what film or from other systems or schemes. I want to be able to judge a young man off of what he has shown me. And that shows me that what he said in one of his earlier videos, his intro video, about I want you all to earn our trust so that you can go out there and play hard for us. Earn our trust. Those type of things, let us show you who we are so that you can eventually learn to trust us with your future and with your career. Saying things like that, some people call it and say that it was something for the camera. Some people say it was just one of those Twitter 45-second videos. But that seemed to have come from within him as a man. And to say that to those young men, I think that he really earned a lot of their respect for how he came about it. And to reiterate that in his opening press conference as offensive coordinator at Miami on National Signing Day, that was huge.
Yeah, so that's always an interesting dynamic that comes into play when a coach takes over a program, and we see it with every program across the country, aside from Nick Saban being at Alabama forever and Dabo Swinney at Clemson. But most of these teams, unfortunately, are turning over coaches every 3 to 5 years, something in that range, and there are players on that field, on that roster, that were recruited by the previous coaching staff, and typically the house is cleaned and the entire coaching staff is turned over. Therefore, wow, yeah, I can show you my stat sheet, and maybe the stat sheet looks really good because I caught 56 passes last year. Or maybe, man, I was a talented kid coming out of high school, but you don't know, coach, that because I only caught 3 passes last year, I'm relegated to special teams. You don't know. You're thinking, man, I must have been a disappointment, or I must not be working hard because I was a 4-star and I'm not playing and I'm going into my junior year. But if a coach can come into a situation, and I think we all encounter this in life, and take each individual as they present themselves and based on our interaction with them,
right?
Put everything else aside. Okay, I heard A, B, and C. And then you have to trust your sources to various degrees. If you hear a bunch of garbage on social media or from people that you barely know, then I completely disregard that. If we're talking about very, very close friends that I've trusted for years and years and years, say, watch out for that guy. That's certainly something I keep here.
Absolutely.
My interaction with that person and our relationship. I think trust should start out completely neutral, meaning you don't take stupid risks in trusting, your life or your money or your health or whatever into somebody that you don't know and have not earned that respect, but you don't distrust them. You start at a very neutral place and say, little by little, I'm going to give you little pieces of me to trust,
right?
To show me that I can trust you. And as long as you deliver and I earn that respect, then I'm going to give you larger and larger portions of my life. And you kind of play it that way. But you start with a clean slate and you say, and look them square in the eye and shake their hand and basically say, hey, we're starting clean here. We're starting fresh, and let's make this thing happen.
Absolutely. And then he backed that up.
That's my take on that situation.
Right. And I appreciate that. He backed that up with examples of players that before he made it to Auburn, and I think they went 3-8 at one point one year, and he became
2012
that year. And guys like Sammy Coates, who had less than 10 career catches, turns out to lead in receptions and yards that same year. Guys like Trey Mason, who had done nothing of, He ended up leading the whole college football in rushing yards and touchdowns that year. Their left tackle, who was a rotational guy at best, goes second overall in Greg Robinson because of the scheme. So, and because of how he took that approach, and he said he built that on being able to judge them based on what they showed him, not what had been done up until any other point. And he was able to turn those guys into big-time guys in college because of what his trust and his viewpoint was and how he was going to, I wouldn't say attack, but how he was going to present himself and present them to college football and present himself to them is what turned out to be very, very good.
Ballard Sports Media, I'm going to answer this because you've posted it several times, and I appreciate, excuse me, and thanks for bearing with me, everyone, for the past week in which I've tried to get over this cough. But Ballard Sports Media posting this several times, so I appreciate the persistence, and I will reward it by letting you know I do not have an Alabama show scheduled right this second, but I'm constantly talking to Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama, and also Gary Harris, who is a sports anchor in Tuscaloosa. He has said, Mark, I will do a live stream for an hour with you, so we just need to get that set up, and I will get that very, very soon to you. Trying to cover everyone there, Ballard Sports Media, so hang in there, and we'll get it done. Captain Trips on the line, and Cuban Canes, thank you so much for the great comments.
Thank you,
everyone. Toward 50,000.
Nothing like some positive energy. We appreciate that big time.
So Captain Trips, he wants to know what freshmen are going to just, hit the playing field immediately.
I mean, until I saw Michael Redding's injury, I definitely thought he would be a very big time contributor to the program. Of course, Jalen Knighton will be someone that, like I said, won't be a starter first day out, but he will be an extremely big-time contributor to the program. How you doing, Thomas Miles? Thank you very much. We appreciate it. On your positive energy. I also think Marcus Clark, the 5'10" dynamic playmaker that I spoke about as my underrated player that signed with Miami, that was probably months ago now that I did a call when you asked me about after the first National Signing Day in December. But Marcus Clark is a corner that will probably come in and be either our starting nickel or our backup nickel behind Corey Coucho will battle him for that position. He's one of those big-time playmakers from up North Florida. I mean, just a wide receiver, cornerback, free safety, linebacker, quarterback, running back. He's a dynamic playmaker, and I think that Marcus Clark will have something to say for his playing time. So that's someone that I would say will contribute to this team ASAP, whether it's on special teams or whether it's as a nickel for the defense.
So we've got our guy Thomas Towns coming right back with a question on the offensive line rotation.
Okay. Left tackle, I believe, will either be Jalen Rivers, freshman, early enrollee Jalen Rivers, or they'll stick with Zion Nelson. I think they're going to stick with Zion Nelson. At left guard in the fall, I think that's Navon Donaldson's spot, no question. Now, if this is my offensive line, I would bring Ja'Kai Clark from right guard to center. But if I'm going based on what the coaches would say, Gainer's still going to have his center position. At the right guard, I think that's going to be a lot of the competition that we want to talk about. Either Jalen Rivers comes in and starts as a freshman at right guard, and then we have Scaife stay at tackle, or Scaife comes in at right guard and we have John Campbell at right tackle. Some type of variation of that. There's going to be a battle at that position between Ja'Kai Clark, Jalen Rivers, and Cleveland Reed at right guard. But DJ Scaife is either the best. I think he got team MVP or offensive MVP from the 2019 Canes, which, he did the best that he could out there. One of the better offensive linemen, if not the best offensive lineman. He is a starter. If you want to say who are the three penciled in starters right now, no questions asked, Navon, Gainer, and Scaife at some position on that offensive line because they're graded the highest. And they're definitely they're going to be the cornerstones of our offensive line program. So I think that they're going to it's going to be Zion, Donaldson, Gainer, Scaife, Campbell, or it's going to be Rivers Scaife at right tackle.
So, folks, I want you to realize how difficult this is for what the Wholesome One does and for what Cam Underwood does on a regular basis here. They sit here and they let me fire whatever questions come out of nowhere from you or for me based on recruiting speculation, personnel breakdowns going back to games 3 years ago, all sorts of crazy stuff. And they fire back the answers regardless. So that's an amazing quality, amazing skill, information, insight, knowledge to have. And I can relate to that because I sit on these call-in shows and Wholesome One, I might have somebody ask me a question about Tennessee, and then the next question comes about Iowa, and then I got to answer a question about UCLA. Now, those are more general questions. Now, if somebody just says, what do you think about the left guard position at Iowa? I'm going to flat out say, well, I can't keep track of everything every year.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't know who's playing left guard right now for Iowa. Sorry. And most people can understand that. But again, I just want you to understand and appreciate what we get here with the Wholesome One. So this is going to be our last question. And again, I apologize. Maybe I'll stay on here for just a minute or two once we release the Wholesome One, just to kind of sift through the comments and make sure I don't miss anything significant. But we got the Wholesome One for an hour each week. And this is always the case. We've got 150 on the line. It's the most we've had online for the entire hour. We always max out at the end. And if we stayed on for another hour, we'd probably make it to 250. But we've got some time limitations here. And so what you need to do is just leave those comments and questions, save them for next week, or leave them in the comments section of any of the videos, and we will get to them as soon as possible so I don't try to miss any comments. But we will stay with this one here as our finale. Chugmo Beer, we appreciate the contribution again.
Absolutely.
Great show, Mark and Wholesome One. Which defense do you think better defends the spread, Miami's current 4-2-5 or the 4-3 that Miami is known for? Let's go Canes.
Okay. We've talked about this on the channel. We even went in depth, Mark, and I think you would really love the show I did last night. Just went in depth as far as statistics versus reality, as far as us being the 13th ranked defense, but we went down every single category, not just major category, all the categories, and compared us to the top 6 defenses in college football. And you could really see a big difference in, are we really the 13th ranked, or was it just statistics, And you also have to look at it. We're playing the ACC Coastal teams. And if you're comparing the ACC Coastal and we're comparing ourselves to Georgia, who was a top-ranked defense playing the SEC, we're comparing ourselves to Oregon, a top-ranked defense in the Pac-12, comparing ourselves to OU, top 3 defense in the Big 12. And we went down the line and compared them both. And it's really a great conversation starter. And not to bash the 13th ranking, but it just made us really think of, are we truly the 13th ranked defense? Now, I say all that to say with the depth that we have at linebacker, a 4-3 makes more sense. Because you can have that weak side linebacker is basically a big safety. So people would say, if I were to give you the linebacker safety lineup, people would say, of course, well, I'll give you the whole back 7. Of course, our 2 corners would stay the same with DJ Ivy and Al Blaze Jr. Our linebacker corner, a lot of people's eyes would be number 53, Zach McLeod on the inside. Next to him would be Sam Brooks, and my eyes would be next to him would be Wayman Steed. But that weak side linebacker on the other side of them would be Amari Carter, bringing him on in as a 200-plus pound strong safety. We bring him in closer to the line of scrimmage. He's 6'1.5", 6'2". He can take on safeties. He can cover running backs. He's done it as a safety. He can come downhill from the linebacker position. And then you could just have light-skinned warrior free, not Amari Carter, Gervin Hall at strong safety, or vice versa, and play the 4-3 just like that. But we have recruited to the 4-2-5, and this will be the 3rd season playing it or having it as the main base of our defense. Why not stick to it? Yes, the striker is something that we're learning. We're growing at the striker position and learning how to coach it. We're learning how other teams attack the striker. If you were to watch any of our games, Mark, you would see that they would just put their fastest receiver at slot and go against number 30 Romeo Finley and have him in open field, and they will scheme against that. If we know that, the coaches know that too. So I truly believe that they're going to take a chance with this 4-2-5 because it is the modern day defense. If it's not the 4-2-5, then everybody will take over the 3-1-7 that Brett Venables just created in the national championship game and take that and run with it. Because the spread, you're going to have 4 to 5 receiving threats on the field at all times moving into the 2020s. Almost everybody is a spread right now. So you got to be able to combat that on the defensive side of the ball. What I would ask, if we're going to stick to the 4-2-5, we need to incorporate more nickel on third downs. And then what I would do is bring that striker in to be the weak side linebacker next to our traditional middle linebacker. For example, if we step to the 4-2-5 where we would have Gilbert Frierson as the striker, we would take one of those linebackers off the field, which at this point would be Wayman Steed, take him off the field and bring in our nickel corner, which would either be to Corey Couch or Marcus Clark, and bring Gilbert Frierson in as a linebacker next to number 53, Zach McLeod. That, to me, would make the best sense to fix our third down issues. We were ranked 42nd on third down conversions, Mark. One of the worst third down defenses in college football. Why? Because teams would attack our striker, who's a safety linebacker hybrid, and make him play backwards instead of forward. And that is what would mess up the 4-2-5 in a lot of people's eyes. So I think we should stick to the 4-2-5. There's growing pains in almost every defense. Yes, the 4-3 is traditional, and it seems easier to us, but we've recruited to this, and we've coached to it. So let's stick with it. It has its good, it has its bad. But let's adapt, let's adjust, let's show our coaching IQ, and let's really take things to another level on a defensive side of the ball here at the University of Miami.
Well, let's win more than 6 or 7 games that forced me to shoot one of those videos like I posted that you didn't like. So we'll try to stay away from that.
Mark, you hurt my feelings on that one, man. It's not like you were lying, but you hurt my feelings, man.
I gained more respect for the people that watch me talk Miami football with you and with Cam and with others, with Zoe, and just my own analysis on Miami football, because I do watch 8 or 9 of those games every year. It's not like I never watch Miami play football, but, you know, I'm not watching the Bethune-Cookman game. But other than that, I'm watching all the ACC games. I'm watching the good games. So I'm watching 9 or 10 games a year out of 12, and certainly watching the bowl game. I watch all the bowl games. Anyway, what the heck was I getting to? Man, you get old and you lose your train of thought.
Something about 6 or 7 wins, and you went off on that tangent.
Sometimes I got something to say about it, but you guys are the experts on the personnel breakdowns, but I've got something to say. Oh, what I was about to say was I thought I was going to get lambasted but I thought, this is what I do. I've looked at the numbers. I've looked at the recruiting rankings. I've looked at the records. I went all the way back to 2005. I went through it, and I thought I provided a reasonable argument as to why is this program not achieving. Anyway, I was floored, I got to say, by the respect and by the accolades given me by the Miami fan base to say, I don't like hearing this, but it's you're presenting exactly what's happened, and this is what it is. So everybody was very complimentary. I don't know that there was 1 or 2 people out of hundreds that had anything negative to say about it. So I really appreciated that. And I thought, man, I my respect meter for the people that watch me that love Miami football just went through the roof.
Right. And then you got to be able, when people present facts to back up their statements, it makes you sit back. If you're at that mature level mentally, it makes you sit back and say, okay, what made that person get to this viewpoint? Then you present the facts to back it up, and you're like, those things are true. How can I get mad at someone that presents facts? I may not like the fact that you put us on Front Street on such a big platform, but maybe you help get a couple of these things starting to change around. Maybe a board of trustee member is a subscriber. I don't know. Maybe they heard your video. Who knows? I mean, when we put these things out into and we call it in the U family, we call it the U universe. When you put things out into you never know what's gonna come back in. So it hurt, but it was facts. So I appreciate being on here, man. You guys don't know how this feels to come on and to literally go through, like Mark is saying, you go through the comments, and of course you're kind of wincing as you scroll, like, all right, there's gonna be one guy that's gonna say something great. Nope, there's just a whole bunch of people saying we appreciate it. And we appreciate you all coming with the positive energy, because in actuality, positive energy is more powerful than negative energy. Don't let anyone tell you anything otherwise.
There's no question about that. Good way to end this thing. So the Wholesome One and I will get together again next week to talk Miami football. That's one of the reasons why you click that subscribe button, you get on the notifications, turn on the bell, because I announce that as soon as we possibly can in terms of meshing our schedules together. So we'll look for a time again next week to get this and make this happen. Wholesome One, thank you so much. And subscribe to his channel. Get over there right now. Subscribe to the channel. And again, we've got the most viewers that we've had for the entire hour plus at the end. So you know what that means. You've missed a ton. So you jump on back to the beginning of the video as soon as it posts in the next few minutes and hear the take from start to finish.
Absolutely. Hey, one thing I asked on the way out, man, if you are on the rewatch, go ahead and drop in the comment section, #rewatch_squad. That means a lot, man, that you guys come back and rewatch it after it's already uploaded. Thank you all so much for the opportunity to be on the platform to represent my family, my institution, and the University of Miami football program. Thank you so much, Mark. Have a great day. God bless.
All right, everybody, keep it locked in here on Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. We will be delivering college football each and every day. We will see you soon.